So the Trump New York City trial finally coming to an end. They're on break right now from closing arguments. They started today, and who knows what they're going to come up with next to keep Trump off the campaign trail after this thing all wrapped up. But amongst the opposition clown show, Robert De Niro showed up outside the courthouse in what was like really a confusing attempt at like a Biden campaign event without him there, with two former, remember those January 6th Capitol police officers that lied under oath, one of which was running for Congress and just lost his primary, of course, and now wondering what to do with himself. I'm assuming he'll probably run again. De Niro gave one of the most bizarre speeches, obviously bearing the lead, by the way, that he is now working for the Biden campaign. I guess somebody finally woke up over there at the White House and said, wow, you know, Trump's been touting this entourage of people speaking on his behalf, and it's getting national news every day. Hey, maybe we should send some of our loyal stalwarts out there. In this case, obviously, it's Hollywood, who've been completely tuned out by most of the people, which the Biden campaign also hasn't realized. But I guess Biden should probably do something, right? I mean, one of my favorite things from this whole press conference was this.
It shows the violence of Trump and reminds us that he'll use violence against anyone who stands in the way of his megalomania and greed. But it's a coward's violence. Do you think Trump ever threw a punch himself or took one?
Took a punch? Neither of you, dude. Someone want to tell him that he's not actually the boxer from Raging Bull, as you can see on the side. Nice play on words by my producers there. He's not a mobster from Goodfellas. Dude, taking a punch in Hollywood from a stuntman does not count. And I've said this from day one. I don't take anything these people say seriously. They are literally paid to act. These people are the same people that advocate for gun safety, that make millions off of violent gun movies. The same people who tell us that climate change is real, and then the seas are going to rise. They go buy oceanfront property, and then they take a private jet to like their third home in Malibu. I mean, seriously, this guy's got his own private helicopter, and being a New York native, as he brought up, in his best gangster accent, he dropped this.
I owe this city a lot. And that's why it's so weird that Donald Trump is just across the street. Because he doesn't belong in my city. I don't know where he belongs, but he certainly doesn't belong here.
Your city? Come on, man. You're like a glorified Xbox. When I push the power button, I want you to entertain me with your films. You had a couple good movies, but that's all I want to hear from you. I could care less about your political opinion. I mean, maybe you're with the Biden campaign now because you haven't released a good movie in quite some time, because you're worth $500 million and inflation really isn't real to you. But don't talk to me like you're one of the rank and file New Yorkers. You're not. After a brief conflict with another reporter that was standing there, he went to the classic Biden talking point.
If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
Based on what? During this whole thing, he told us why he was really there. It took a while, but we finally found out.
On January 6th, rallied an angry mob to threaten democracy, leaving death and destruction in its wake. That's why I needed to be involved and wanted to be involved in the new Biden-Harris ad.
Right, there it is. Took 4 minutes for him to actually say that he was there on behalf of the campaign. That's about as transparent as also the Capitol police officer, who I just told you behind him, who was there because he failed running for Congress and probably wants to run. I mean, how much do you want to bet you saw a Biden donation on that January 6th police officer's last filing? I mean, look, I realize some Democrats haven't been following this case that closely because they're just sensationalized by the Orange Man Bad theory, but most of America has already made up its mind about this. This is a BS trial, 36 felonies made out of one misdemeanor, with a crime they can't even name. This is a mechanism to tie Trump to a courtroom so we can't campaign by a judge who donated to Democrats, whose daughter is making millions for Democrats and taking God knows how much for herself. This is being done in a city predominantly run by Democrats, with a district attorney elected by Democrats that met with the White House before prosecuting this case. Oh, by the way, who lets criminals out of jail on the reg but locks up people like Daniel Penny for defending innocent people from a crazy man on a subway? You tell me which part of this screams fair trial, Robert De Niro, in your city. This is what you got. Here's some free campaign advice for the Biden campaign. And I know you're not going to win. That's why I'm offering this for free. You want people to vote for you? Tell me why that campaign is better. Not why Trump is bad, but let's start with that. People line up for Donald Trump by like the tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands. They did it in New Jersey and even in deep blue Bronx for Trump because his entire message is about why his presidency would be better than Joe Biden. So don't tell me that it's going to be the end of freedoms as we know it, because it's not. It's just not. We had 4 years to judge Trump on his presidency. Guess what? Gay people could still get married. That talking point goes out the window. You can still get an abortion because it got pushed to the states. He didn't ban it. And despite what Democrats are doing to whatever they can to Trump, he didn't lock up his political opponents like they're trying to do. So Robert De Niro and all these other people who are trying to tell me that Trump is going to be the end of the world. No, the end of the world is actually coming real fast right now, literally. Iran's getting a nuke. The U.S. dollar is vanishing from the global trade currency. We're pulling out of every terrorist hotbed in the world, allowing them to take over while we give unlimited, untraceable funding to a regime that's exceeded its lawful term in Ukraine. I miss the days where I can get up, have a cup of coffee, read a couple mean tweets, get in my car that I filled up at $2 a gallon, drive to the city where I work without having to dodge homeless people left and right, and worry about some terrorist who came across the border that they don't know about illegally, setting off a suicide bomb somewhere. I remember Trump's 4 years, and if you think it was worse than Biden, consider getting a CAT scan.